started, and thank you for joining us this morning. I'm Derek Miller. I'm the president and CEO of the Salt Lake Chamber, and it's a pleasure to represent the Chamber and many other Utah companies that support us. Last year, some of you who attended may remember at the Utah Rural Summit, the Salt Lake Chamber alongside EDC Utah and the Department of Workforce Services launched a new initiative to further Utah's rural development known as the Chamber's Rural Workforce Network. Together, we issued a call to action for businesses to connect job seekers who may want to stay in their local communities to employers who offer remote work and believe in a distributed workforce. While this program began before the coronavirus, it has certainly accelerated our change in workforce distribution, and this program has become more important than ever. For many, the Salt Lake Chamber has advocated for policy and legislation to support rural Utah, such as Representative Watkins' sponsored grant legislation, which helped to provide the necessary resources to build the Tucah Center to bring it to fruition. Overall, everything we're doing today is certainly part of our effort to help create public-private partnerships. With the launch of the Chamber's Rural Workforce Network, we're now poised to continue to help build opportunity and capacity in Price, as well as other areas of rural Utah. For the Find Manufacturing and Tucah Center launch, we're joined this morning by Governor Gary R. Herbert, Representative Christine Watkins, Price City Mayor Michael Korianos, Angela Martinez, the EDA Regional Director from the Denver office, Nicolina Womack, the founder and CEO of Future in Design, Ram Sareen, founder and CEO of Tucah Tech, Chris Walia, COO of Tucah Tech, and Todd Bingham, president and CEO of the Utah Manufacturers Association. We also have joining us this morning representatives from the Governor's Office of Economic Development, Price City Council, Carbon County Government, the Economic Development Corporation of Utah, World Trade Center Utah, the Salt Lake Chamber, and the Utah Coal Country Strike Team. I'd like to turn the time over to Nicolina Womack, the founder and CEO of Future in Design. Go ahead, Nicolina.
Thank you so much, Derek Miller, and thank you for hosting us today. I want to thank all of you for joining us at this remarkable event and to be here for the launch of our International Fine Manufacturing and International Tucah Tech Center. First, I want to take a moment to thank all of the people that have and make to this day this possible for all of us to be here. A lot of times the credit goes to the CEO or the face of the company, but we would not have come this far had it not been for all of the allies and community members that have sacrificed so much for us to be able to do what we're doing today. And so I really want to acknowledge the people behind the scenes that work tirelessly every day for Find and Fine Manufacturing. I really would like to thank our Future in Design Board of Directors, all of our community partners with Price City, our Carbon County, USU Eastern, the Southeast Utah Association of Governments, the Carbon County School District and Pinnacle Charter, Utah Manufacturing Association, the Governor's Office for Economic Development, the Salt Lake Chamber, Workers' Compensation Fund, and our customers, those companies who are contracting with us and taking the leap of faith to bring back their manufacturing here to the United States. And we are so thankful for them to put their business in our hands. We also wouldn't be here without the talented and committed workforce that stands behind me. These people are amazing. They have been sewing their hearts out up and over. They have been sewing so hard and fast that quite literally I came in one day with a burnt piece of sewing machine on my desk because they were sewing so fast it burnt. I want to give you an idea of what we are here for. So as a nonprofit, FINE is committed to helping create a workforce security for a regional community that has been caught in the wake of a decades-long recession due to dramatic economic shifts in the energy sector, providing premium products that are manufactured by individuals who have been recruited from the local rural population and who have overcome hurdles and obstacles to find new opportunity and fashion new lives. And maintaining sustainability, which is a driving force for FINE. 40% of all apparel worldwide ends up in a landfill. And that's not our used apparel. That's apparel that has never been sold, that just sits on the shelves and then goes to a landfill. FINE's small batch micro manufacturing business model reduces waste while boosting efficiencies, maintaining product quality, and elevating prosperity and the quality of life for all. That is what FINE is all about, and the Tuca Center is helping us get to this next level. I would like to turn the time over to one of my dearest friends and someone I absolutely aspire to be more like, is Representative Christine Watkins, who very early on in the process saw the vision for this manufacturing center and help us run legislation to help rural Utah and FINE. Our goal in the next 10 years is to have 50 to 100 micro factories between here and Mexican Hat, Utah. Representative Watkins, I'll turn the time over to you.
Thank you, Nicolina. I want everyone to know that when Nicolina and her team came to me with the idea of bringing back sewing manufacturing to Carbon County, it really resonated with me, because years ago we had a sewing manufacturer in Carbon County, Koretz of California, and I knew many of the people who worked there, and I still do, and they talk fondly of the days that they worked there and of the great jobs that they had. I know, and our legislature knows, that how important training and manufacturing jobs are, and how they transform, balance, and create economic diversity. I chose Senator Hinkins, of course, to be the Senate sponsor of this bill, the Rural Rapid Manufacturing Grant Program. And the intent was to provide training, scholarships, equipment, and internships, and some professional services. Of the $500,000 allocated, FINE received $300,000 through GoEd's grant process. We were fortunate enough to get this done in a legislative session before the pandemic. So this gave FINE and other strategic partners time to leverage that grant and have a solid foundation to build on. I'm delighted to see that our taxpayer monies are working, that they are being matched and leveraged in the private sector with companies like Tuca Tech and the Utah Manufacturing Association. We can't expect government to do it all, but it sure is nice that we can create an environment where others will jump in and take on the bigger risks. I would like to now turn over the time to the Mayor of Price, Mike Kourianos.
Thank you, Christine. It's always a pleasure to hear you. I'm honored to be here and represent the citizens of Price City. Thank you to all of you joining us here today, especially to Mr. Ram Shireen of Tuca Tech. Welcome to Price, Utah. We are so glad to have you here with us today. It's been a wonderful thing to watch Future in Design come into our community. I am so proud of where they are, and I can tell you it hasn't been easy for them. There are ups and downs in the startup of a new business. Nicolina and her team and her employees have succeeded because of a long-standing tradition we have here in Price. That term is, we have your back. When times got tough, they took care of each other. When COVID hit, and it looked like Future in Design had no future in anything, Future in Design went out and found contracts, one from GoEd and others from the private sector. And they began to hire people. I really think what Future and Design and Tukatech and the Utah Manufacturing Association have demonstrated is that new business can open and thrive in rural Utah. Sometimes we go looking for the big guys. Sometimes we are swinging for the fence. But we know that small business is the backbone of the American economy, and price is full of small businesses like Fine that we want to continue to nurture and to grow. As I get ready to introduce Governor Herbert, I want to say how much we value our relationship with those of you who are joining us here today from the Wasatch Front. 2 years ago, Derek Miller of the Salt Lake City Chamber and I signed an MOU to help each other, to help promote price and to grow our private sector economy. It's been a work in progress, a long climb, but I think we are seeing good outcomes from these strategic partnerships with the Kemp C. Gardner and the Utah Coal Strike team. Governor Herbert, thank you for joining us today and for your leadership through these uncertain times. You've always been a great friend and supporter of rural Utah, and it means a great deal to us that you are here to help us launch this new manufacturing operation. And now I'd like to turn the time over to our Governor Herbert.
Well, thank you, Mayor. It's great to be with you as we celebrate this new opportunity in Price and rural Utah, and we thank all those who've been a part of this effort. Congratulations to one and all, Nicholas and Ram and you, Mayor, and we appreciate the good work of our legislature led by Representative Christine and Senator David. We appreciate their good work. So again, I think a day of celebration is in order, and I know this doesn't just happen. There's been people that have an idea that have come together and created a partnership and a teamwork effort to, in fact, create this opportunity. I'm a big believer in working together and having unprecedented partnerships. As I've said in my very first inaugural address, will create unlimited possibilities of what we can create. Utah has done very well in creating a very significant environment for business expansion. We've been the most business-friendly state in America. We have the most diverse and healthy economy. And even during the pandemic, right now we have the lowest unemployment rate at 4.5% of any state in America today, which is pretty phenomenal. That being said, you're right, Mayor, we've been very concerned about some parts of rural Utah have not been able to celebrate and be involved in the economic prosperity that we've seen throughout the state. And so we've been concerned about rural Utah. And to that end, we've met with all the rural counties and said, what is your plan? And what can the state do to help be a partner to find opportunities to expand economically and diversify the economy? And I appreciate the fact we're moving, I think, in a better direction in rural Utah. And that's win-win for a lot of reasons. What we've learned during the pandemic, for example, as you heard Derek Miller talk about a bit, is the ability for us to telecommute. We don't have to all be in the same place anymore to conduct business. With technology, and aren't we using it today? I wish I'd bought stock in Zoom. I'd be a wealthy man probably today. We are finding we can do things differently than we've done in the past. And even when we get past the pandemic, some of these new options and these new technologies will be a part of what we do as we go forward. So it's an exciting time. And again, I'll just mention a couple of things that I think are worth mentioning. As I look at how we've come together in this particular specific issue, again, I mentioned Representative Watkins and here helped spearhead the legislation that was necessary to provide grant money for equipment and training. Price, you're providing the facility that this is located in. The Workers' Compensation Fund pitched in with a small business grant to help give some grease and some capital to make this happen. The U.S. Economic Development Administration has stepped in also with a grant. Tukatech is providing equipment, software, design tools, and professional services. And Find is pulling all these resources together to train people in price, to help manufacturing personal protective equipment, which is, of course, in high demand today during this COVID, and to secure other apparel and manufacturing contracts. So again, very much a team effort. And what I really like is this team effort is producing a significant result, which creates now 47 new jobs there in Price, with an additional 15 on its way. So that's a significant bump in the economic opportunity there in Carbon County in the Price area, which is really going to help lead the way for other development, I think, in other parts of our rural state. So last but not least, I'll just mention this. We ought to say a significant thanks to Price and Carbon and Emery County in particular. We've been named the best place in America for business. And as Derek Miller would know, he was involved in this with our Go-It office way back when, and we got named this. And one of the reasons was low-cost energy. We forget sometimes how significant it is to have a business environment and having lower cost energy. You can't have a very healthy economy if you don't have access to an abundance of energy. Look at California now, having brownouts and blackouts. Again, for a variety of reasons we won't go into here. That's not going to happen in Utah, thanks to Carbon and Emery and what we've been doing to diversify even our energy portfolio. And change is afoot. We know we have to adapt. The challenges out there are real, and we appreciate the fact that, again, Carbon County is leading the way of saying there was other ways to do things, and certainly in the energy area, that's going to be a part of the change that we're going to adjust to and diversify our energy portfolio to make sure we always have an abundance of low-cost energy. So I think a great day for us in many ways. I know you have in Price, you have broadband, you've got the infrastructure needs that you have to have there. You have a wonderful university there in Price, and you're affiliated with not only Utah State University, but University of Utah. So you actually, two of our major universities actually have participation and doing things there in the Price area. So I'm excited not only about today, but I'm probably just as excited about tomorrow, what the future is going to be for all of us. So thank you for setting a great example, leading the way. I think our future is bright indeed. And we thank all those who have made this possible. Mayor, thank you very much. And Christine, for your leadership area with the legislature, and Dave Hinkins too. And everybody, I mean, there's just a lot of people coming together, making Team Utah function and work, and the results we see here today. Congratulations to one and all. Now, am I supposed to?
I think it comes to me, Governor, so thank you.
Todd, take it away, Todd.
I'll run with it. Nice handoff. There we go. Governor, thank you so much. It's been a privilege for me to work with the governor for many years. And in fact, I think the first was we served on the Rural Partnership Board together back when the governor was lieutenant governor, and focused a lot in my days when I represented the agricultural community, focusing on rural Utah and the economy. And what he's finished talking about there is entrepreneurship, about the free market, about how we drive the economy in rural parts of the state as well as urban parts of the state. A lot of people tend to think that we are a rural state. We're actually an urban state. All of our populations are in urban centers. And so we've got to work hard to drive economies in these other areas of the state, and that's certainly something we've done. The governor mentioned partnerships, and I think that's something that we're here today to celebrate, which is an opportunity for all of us to have gotten together here. The partnership between Nicolina and her team at Find, as well as Tukatech and our organization, the mayor with Price City, GoEd and the Salt Lake Chamber, and all of us coming together to talk about how we drive prosperity and economic development in rural Utah. So we're pleased to be a part of that. If you would have asked me about 6 to 8 months ago if we'd have been helping manufacture 2.5 million masks for the state, I would have said, huh? When the governor's office and GOED reached out to us and said, we've got an issue here, can you help us? We were pleased to take our Center for Business and Continuous Improvement that we have within our organization and have those folks reach out to companies like Nicolina and say, can you transition, retool, repurpose your facilities and help us make PPE? And that's exactly what companies have done. It's exactly what Nicolina has done. And what a great opportunity for us to work with her to be able to employ individuals in rural Utah during a very uncertain time. But to also be here celebrating, not only did we get through, maybe we're not through yet, but we hope we're getting through this uncertain time, but we're driving economic prosperity in these areas. And we're developing individuals and people in those areas. And so that's what we've done as an organization for 115 years now, is represent the manufacturing industry and hopefully work with the companies that need our help across the state. The average manufacturing company in the state of Utah is around 50 employees. That is the size of companies that generally drive the economy. We often hear about the huge, large manufacturing companies, but the largest bulk of those are companies that drive the economy in Representative Watkins' community there and in the mayor in your community. Companies that are down there that continually drive and support that economy. So we're pleased to be a part of that. Nicolina, I'm so happy to be here today. And with that, I'm going to introduce the Made in Price video, and it looks like we'll watch that real briefly.
Our rural communities have been hit hard in recent years. Some might think they are all but abandoned. The West was settled by pioneers, but it was our coal miners who came together to produce one of our country's most valuable assets. On their backs, we built our icons and infrastructure. Their countless sacrifices and too many lives helped connect the world and win wars. The groundwork for every industry, economy, and diversified community we cherish exists because of their hard work. Today, Future in Design Manufacturing is building upon the success of these lasting legacies, retooling and reinvigorating rural Utah for the next chapter in our nation's story. A new era dedicated to syncing production with demand, centered in sustainability, focused on reducing time to market and increasing prosperity for all. Find is ready for the next generation of manufacturing needs. We have been educating and training a resilient and talented workforce to face unexpected challenges and a bright new future. Utilizing time-tested techniques alongside the latest in localized manufacturing, we can bring products to market faster than ever before. Fine Manufacturing is ready to meet any project needs, no matter how big or small. Fine is the future of consumer demand, custom design, and digital manufacturing. We are making it in Price, and we are open for business.
Great, well, thank you. I've really enjoyed watching that video myself, and I know it's, I can see it brings emotion to Representative Watkins. You know, one of the areas that, in just my closing comments here, apparel manufacturing in particular has been dominated overseas for many years. We have an opportunity, an amazing opportunity with Find and Nicolina to bring some of those jobs back here to the U.S. We have the capability, we have the technology, we have the skills. I'm excited to hear from Ram and others about how we move this forward and look at driving the economy in local communities across the state. So Nicolina, so great to be here, and I'll turn the time back over to you.
Thank you, Todd. And I just want to say to any manufacturing company out there that's going through a retooling and diversification process, which I think we're all facing, I would highly encourage you to get with Todd and his team at the Utah Manufacturing Association. And when we talk about partnership and how these things have been able to come to fruition, that team has been critical for us in terms of being able to retool ourselves and meet the demand. And so make sure that if you need anything, they're an amazing resource and ally. And our next really big ally that I'm very honored to be able to introduce is Mr. Ram Sareen and his team at Tukatech. And the partnership that we've had with them has been invaluable. Their tenure in the apparel industry is immeasurable, and they have been with us right by our side every single day through this process, even the moment where we were contemplating how far to go into this manufacturing. And he looked at myself, my two coworkers, and said, well, just do it. Just do it yourself. And so it's amazing to see that stature really have connected internationally to actually be able to connect with other communities and be able to have the capabilities that we need to bring manufacturing back to the United States and be competitive on a global stage. So, Mr. Sareen, I would love to spend my time over to you.
First of all, thank you, Nicolina. But my compliments to the governor, to the mayor, to the whole Utah team. This is such a breath of fresh air to see all these politicians really caring for the people. It's rare to see a team, whether it is a state or the city or the county or just a small little place called Price. This is how you do it. It's not a one-person job. But somebody has to have the vision. And I don't know whether I should be complimenting the governor or the mayor or the congresswoman or who, but I think my hat's off to everybody. 25 years ago, I had a heart attack. I was declared dead. So I decided I'm going to retire. I hated doing nothing. So as a hobby, I started this company just to help others. We're still privately held. And I took an inventory of my life. I said, what is differentiating between me and the person who's trying to become me? Opportunities. I have the opportunities. How do I give those opportunities to people who have the desire, but either don't have the break, don't have the capital, or don't have the guidance? So Tukatech was founded to help. I'm sure all of you have heard of Kinko's. Very similar idea came into my head. A lot of people have design ideas. If they could walk into a place, and we called it Tuka Center, and say, all right, I have an idea, but I can't afford to hire a pattern maker or a sewer or a cutter or whatever. Well, guess what? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of companies today who are running millions of dollars of business started out from there. Over the years, the inventory became an issue, landfills, demand manufacturing, and all of a sudden, the new life was given to Tuka centers, where now they can make it to demand. Whatever is sold already or whatever is needed now, but that required a team of people, not designers, not retailers, but the actual factories, and we call them micro factories for demand manufacturing. And that's what Find is. It is so important now more than ever to have all these places connected where they can offer not only a product, but guidance towards the product for a small startup companies to very large companies who need to produce something. Like you mentioned, Todd, about pivoting to make masks. Cut and sew is cut and sew. It doesn't matter whether we are making panties or pants, whether we are making dresses or blouses. We cut and we sew. It starts from design. And that's what Find is all about. It can pivot on a moment's notice because the sewers don't know what products they are making. They use a machine which does one job, and all these jobs progressing eventually creates a product. That product has a name, but as far as the skills are concerned, those skills that we are trying to develop within the community, so these people can go home and say, proudly, I work with computers, not the old fallacy about sweatshops and what, your mother works for the garment companies. I wanted to change that. I wanted people to feel proud that I am in the garment manufacturing. I work with computers, I work with technology, and that's what we are all about. We want to make sure that everybody adds value, and we de-skill how to learn so quickly that the computers do their own job, but computers still need people who can press the buttons. So we need those people from you, and we will keep providing the guidance and technology. But we also want to invite the brands and retailers around the world who need manufacturing done in Utah or nearby, so that electronically the information can be transferred and products can be done in Utah and delivered either in Utah or nearby, rather than bringing it from China or India or Sri Lanka or Bangladesh. And that's what Find Manufacturing is all about. I thank all of you for your kind support, and I wish nothing but best to Nicolina and her team. They have really, really passionately worked on this project very hard. And I have seen you drive all the way to Los Angeles to learn from people and spend time and work days and evenings and nights with people and factories and so on. Nicolina, hard work always pays. My salute to you. Thank you all.
Okay, so we are opening this up for a Q&A from the audience, or I believe with the chamber, who's also curated some questions from the audience for Mr. Serene and myself.
Actually, Nicolina, I think we're good. This is Rob. If you want to start the tour, for those that want to stay, I think you and Joy can do the walkthrough. If we get any more questions that come on in, then we'll pass those along. So we're about 10:35. So why don't we take 10 minutes and start your tour? And I know the governor had to leave, and maybe some others might have to jump off as well, but we've got about 10 minutes to do the walkthrough tour.
Turn it over to our industrial designer, Janae Pettit. She has been an amazing asset, along with Brenda Adley, our manufacturing director. So they will be wonderful to take you guys through a tour of what we've been doing over the past couple years.
Hi, so I'm Janae. I am a product designer here, and that means I do a lot of really fun stuff. So let me take you over to where we start with our project. A lot of the time, people don't even know where to start. Sometimes they are like, I just have an idea and I'm not sure what I need to do. What kind of fabric should I use? How does it, you know, all of these questions and all these unknowns. And so that's where I get to come into play and my team, and we get to help them realize and make things a reality. So we'll start over here at our desk. Before anything can even happen, we have a lot of questions that we have to ask and go through and make sure we understand what our clients want and need. And so we start out usually just doing some research and doing some preliminary designs. We have, thanks to Tukatech, we have some design software that we're able to use over here for making patterns. And so we can make any kind of pattern that you want. We can make all the sizes that you might ever want. And then we also have 3D software so that we can actually do a 3D garment fit before it even gets made into anything with physical materials. So that's really exciting and really cool. And it actually cuts down on the cost of making products, and it also cuts down on the time it takes to make products, because if we have a pattern, we just tell the computer how the pattern goes together, puts it on the model for us, and we can see where it might not fit well. We can see how we need to make changes. And then, of course, the fun part is actually making it out of fabric. So if we come around here, we have a lot of different fabrics. I'll take you in the back in a minute, but we can start making just samples and test materials out to see what will work best for different products that we might have to make. We have a ton of different fabric samples from a lot of different vendors. One thing that we're working on doing is having a fabric library. So we have a standard set of a variety of types of fabrics that we know we can get really quickly from certain vendors. And that'll help to cut down the time it takes for us to actually manufacture or to make a sample for our clients. So once we know what fabric we're making, then we can order it, and we get to store tons and tons of fabric back here for different orders that are coming in, whether you're making 100 of something or 10,000 of something. This is where we keep all of our fabric and our materials, right back here. So once we know what we're making the fabric out of, once we know the pattern and everything, there are some really cool things that we just started being able to do. So for example, this big thing is a sublimation printer. So that means we can print different patterns and styles and designs on paper. And the cool thing is this paper, once you have a heat press, and you can heat press it onto fabric, and it ends up looking really cool, bright, vibrant colors like this. And so you can see the difference between how it goes on the paper and how the fabric actually takes it and what it ends up really looking like. And so we've done some really cool stuff with this. We made some masks for Fear Factory in Salt Lake City. Shout out to them for trusting us to make these really cool masks for them. It's been really fun learning how to do these processes and make these things. And one other cool thing is we have such a fantastic set of colors that we can actually print onto fabric. That this, for example, is actually a watercolor painting that I did a few years ago. And so it's really fun to see that stuff happening. So once we have the print printed onto the fabric, and then it's heat pressed onto the fabric, this is one of the coolest things that we have is our Tukatech laser cutter. So if we come over here, this is Tiffany, and Tiffany's our laser cutter technician. And so this is the really cool thing. I'll let Tiffany show off how our laser cutter works. But we basically can put a roll of fabric back there behind it, and it has all these sensors and automatic things where it can actually unroll the fabric at the right timing so that it can go right onto the laser cutter. And then the laser can just cut out our patterns however we need them to be. We can make sure we line things up with the grain or the cross grain, and I'll let Tiffany kind of show what it does. It's pretty cool. So these are actually some duffel bags we're making for a client right now. And this is just a duck canvas. So it's just a cotton canvas that's just an ordinary kind of fabric. Okay, so have the program here. This is what it will cut out. Line it up. the benefit of having a laser cutter, especially for product development, is it can cut out patterns really fast. So it used to be that we had to print a pattern on a piece of paper, cut it out of the piece of paper, put it on the fabric, cut it out by hand on the fabric, and it just takes a lot of time. But as you can see with the laser cutter, it goes so fast. So for UMA, we've been able to do a lot of PPE products, including face masks like the one that I'm wearing right now. So if we come around here, you can see all of these stacks of materials that are cut out are face masks. And so you can see we layer them. So we've got the external and the interior lining. And Tiffany takes care of all that. She takes care of all of our cutting and stacking and prepping for our materials to then go over to our sewing machine line. So let's go over there next. So here's our sewing machine line for making our face mask. You can see we've just got stacks of these masks cut out, ready to sew. And then we send them through each of these machines as one operation, one step in the process. So we've got Tracy sewing the seams down the middle. We come around here and Tina's putting the binding on the lower part of the mask. We've got Sarah helping to cut them apart. She's our flex person on the team. And then Sherry is putting on the top binding, which is also the tie that goes around the back of our head. Then we have over here. These ladies are both named Shelly, actually. We have our Shellys who are helping to QC and package all of them. So you can see how they turn out. They're a mess. So here's one in person. And they've got this cool tie on the back. It's like the old school friendship bracelets that we used to have in elementary school. And so you can adjust it to fit around your head however you need, whatever's most comfortable. Here, let me put this back so I don't mess up your rhythm here, ladies. There you go. So there you go. That's pretty much how it goes. And then from there, it ships out to our customers. We've got a huge box of our masks going to UMA for the Mask Every Utah program. There you go.
Right.
That's it. I wish we could take more questions or something, but I don't have any audio to anybody who might still be watching this. Okay.
Well, Rob, that's the end of the tour we have on our side. If anyone does have any questions, feel free. But that's the walkthrough of the new Tuca Center.
That's just really fantastic, Joey and Ram. I hope you liked what you saw there with the Tuca laser cutter and other machines that are working away there, and stacks of material and high-tech, high-touch manufacturing going on there in Price, Utah.
Wonderful, guys. I can only bring the person to water. Somebody has to drink it. And my hat's off to the team at Find, Janine, Nicolina, Cindy, all you guys, girls, guys. Tuca is a woman-owned company. I just work for my wife. Tuca is my wife's name. So more power to women, okay? Let's make it happen.
Thanks, Serene.
Let's keep going. Thank you everyone for joining us. We're very glad that you could all be here today. And hey, tell everyone about us and come manufacture. Let's bring it on home, shall we?
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you,
Thank
Chris.
you
Thank you,
all.
Rob.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Rob.
Thank-
Thank you so much, Derek Miller. Thank you so much, Governor Herbert and Representative Christine Watkins and Todd. Your help has been and support has been invaluable to us, and the motivation we've needed even in those dark times. So know that we're very much grateful and aware of your support and are thankful for the energy that it's kept us to keep going. And thank to these amazing people and all these amazing people behind us for making this happen.
Don't forget the team behind Ram Sareen, Mr. Valia, Chris Valia, the Chief Operating
Yes.
Officer, and his people, Mike and Cavanagh, and all the people, Boris, who've been countless hours at odd hours to support and so on. You are part of us, and we are behind you in your efforts. This is my promise to you. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Derek, back to you.
Yes, Chris and Mike, we couldn't do anything without you. Nothing.
Well,
It
thanks
takes a
again to
vision,
everyone
right?
who joined this morning, and thanks to all of those who put on today's event. It's not easy to put an event like this together when we're crossing not just the state, but in having multiple people across the country joining us. We want to say congratulations again to Nicolina and the team at Future in Design. Congratulations to Ram and the team at Tuca Tech. And thanks also to Governor Herbert for joining us today, for Representative Watkins, for everything she does for Price and her district, and of course to the Mayor of Price City, Mayor Coriolis. Thanks to all of you, and thanks to everyone for joining us. We'll look forward to hopefully seeing you again soon.